launch in the submarine and fly in the air, return to the water, and return to the air again and go back and forth between the air and the water. I kid you not. This drone is defies a lot of what some uh, drone company CEOs claim could be done. Now it's just a matter of engineering to come up with something like this. This is something that can be developed. But it's like this. If you take a regular drone and you drop it into the seawater, it's going to be toast. One, because seawater is highly caustic, the salt in it. But this is not, a regular aerial drone. So if your mind is stuck on that, you're not going to be able to think outside the box and come up with how to do this. Most problems can be solved with good engineering. You just got to set the requirements. What are the requirements? We know we have underwater drones. Our U.S. Navy is developing a drone called I believe it's called the Manta Ray. It's a fair-sized drone, and this apparently got the Chinese really concerned. And that's part of that in some of the aerial drones that the United States is planning to use is part of why China is developing a drone like this. Well, this drone is called the Fei, I suppose. I may get the pronunciation right. My Chinese is somewhat not spectacular, somewhat less than absolutely spectacular. So, having said that, what I got to say is this. This drone was developed by the Northwestern Polytechnic University and the China Aerodynamics Research Development Center. So, they had developed this drone where it's got these, the propulsion, which doubles as propellers or props, depending on what's in the water or in the air, is at the tail of it, which makes it come to the surface and it's able to basically unfold its propellers, wings, props, whatever, and then fly it, launch into the air. It's capable of transitioning both. Now, the U.S. Navy is planning something kind of sort of similar that could be launched from a submarine, but it has to go in a tube, like a torpedo-like tube, to the surface before it can be launched in the air, because it's only able to actually move through the air. It's not able to transition from air to water. So this is a threat to the U.S. military should we get in an engagement with China, and it's quite a unique capability. So it's basically taking a drone built to operate underwater and making it fly. We do have underwater drones, so we know this is a possibility. We have submarines. You don't expose your electronics and certain sensitive surfaces to the saltwater and nasty elements. So, like I said, it is definitely a capability that can be engineered. So what it's got these 4 foldable arms with foldable propellers and the props, whatever you want to call them. So that in the water, it puts them close into the body to reduce drag as it moves through the water. But when it comes to the surface, it deploys these arms. They're foldable and bendable, kind of like human arms. That's the way they've said. Even the blades have some flexibility about them to govern this. So Pastor Paul says, "Shut up, Gandalf." I'm telling you what's been developed by engineering by Chinese, and this is a threat. So you want to tell me to shut up? What are you doing in here? You're free to say whatever you want to say, but be respectful. So I'm telling you that these things are a threat. And one of the reasons I'm bringing this up is there's a couple of reasons. One is this could explain some of the phenomenology that's been seen, where it's been said that drones have been coming from the sea. And some people say, oh, this is not possible. It can't be happening. Including there was a certain drone company CEO that came and said, oh, that's impossible. It can't happen. Well, let me tell you something. The Coast Guard said it happened. U.S. Coast Guard was saying these drones are coming from the sea in terms of 50 and 60, or these so-called New Jersey drones. So the phenomenology, as I said, may extend beyond some of the explanations that we have seen. And this is a case in point. This proves what I was talking about. This absolutely is proof positive that what I was talking about is in the realm of possibilities. Now, I was talking about launching drones from boats. And that's also possible. I know because I've launched balloons from boats that carried rockets that hit the edge of space. They actually launched from the edge of space into space. Guys, I have done this 25 years ago with balloons, which are harder to launch than drones because you have to get them out, You have to lay them out over a large deck, and you got to match wind velocity with your boat. You don't have to do that launching drones. Drones are easier. It's aliens. Well, there may be. I don't know, Drew. Dialing Drew. We're going to talk about that on Galactic Greg's over a series of videos real soon, starting with the Army anti-gravity program, which absolutely existed. The Army was doing anti-gravity research, and I got the proof, and I'm going to show it as soon as I can set up my docking station and everything else in my little building. I do have that'll be coming out soon. I do have a VR recorded today talking about AI, because I didn't have to set up a docking station. I just did it from my phone here, which I will be posting on Galactic Greg's probably tomorrow. Why you don't really need to be scared of AI. I gave you 3 reasons why it's not going to be Skynet just yet. Even though we're talking about this thing called Stargate. So it's not what a lot of people are fearing. They don't have as much capability. In fact, AI has been overhyped. I'll go into that in that video. I'm not going to go into I'm not going to go into it too much here. AI's got issues. It's got problems, and some of them aren't going to be fixed anytime soon. Some of those things they're talking about doing is going to make it even worse. So it's going to be a little while before you got to worry about that. And I don't know, is this Pastor Paul the one that's got his own YouTube channel that is it Begley? I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, I'm an engineer. I have launched balloons and rockets from ships at sea. I know these things can be done. And I also know it's a matter of engineering. If you want to make something transition between the water and air, but you got to build it to operate underwater in the first place. And we know that we can do that because we have underwater drones. But to make one transition, so the Chinese are really good at copying U.S. technology. That's the other reason I'm bringing this up. They really excel. It's still in our stuff. They steal everything we got, which means they're all embedded everywhere in our stuff. They got us hacked. They got people that just steal everything we have. So it's just a matter of that's one reason that a lot of our stuff is secret and not at the scale that the Chinese may be pulling it off. That's more topics I'm going to pull out and explain on Galactic Greg's in the near future. Now, back to this particular case. This drone's been developed. It's been developed, like I said. It's called, I guess, the FEIYI, the best I can pronounce that's FEIYI. It's been, once again, developed by Northwestern Polytechnical University and the China Aerodynamics Research Development Center. So this drone, as I said again, it can transition between water and air and back to, now what it gives them is some unique tactical capabilities. If their drones come into fire, they just drop them in the water and they submerge. It takes them about 5 seconds to submerge. It's not like these, I don't remember the voyage, the voyage beneath, to the bottom of the sea, that old TV show that used to be on back in the 70s. They had a flying submarine that would just pop straight out of the air, water, fly in the air and back in. It's not like that. There's a transition period because it's got to get to the surface. It's got to unfold those arms. But it takes about 5, I don't know how long it actually takes it to transition from the water to the air, but what it has been published is it can transition from the air to the water and submerge within 5 seconds. That's pretty fast. So if they got a fleet or a swarm of these, and suddenly you're directing fire upon them or something like that, they can drop in the water and you won't take out too many of them. They can resurface somewhere else and surprise, surprise, and hit you from another location. So this is something to be concerned about. Where to get my information? It was published in Interest in Engineering. It's been covered in the Chinese, the South China Morning Post, and it's also been published by the Chinese directly. And the initial publication was an Acta Aeronautical. It's a scientific journal published by China. So I don't make this up. There's nothing I bring you on this channel, on any channel or any platform that I just make up. So take it to the bank. Now, see, that's one of the things. When I'm not, showing a bunch of articles, I get people challenging. But when I show a bunch of articles, people hate that too. But, that's what I'll be able to do when I get a docking station set up and I operate out of my cabin. I can show you these articles. I wished I could. I would like to be able to show you this stuff. But right now, I am operating out of a van, and I'm only working from my cell phone. And so that's what I got right now. And the cell phone app for YouTube really isn't set up in such a way that I can share articles and do things the way that I would normally like to do it, the way I've done it in the past, and will again do that in the future. So just hang on, and you'll get more program like that down the road. But I'm a man in the van down by the river basically right now. I've been living here for months trying to get my tiny home built. I'm trying to reduce my cost of living basically, and I don't have a mortgage payment anymore. I still have other payments and things to check out. Monel memory metal. Yeah, memory. It starts with an N. That stuff. The name of that metal. Yeah, there's a memory metal that's been developed from way back. Basically, you can fold it up and unfold it and to get back its shape. So what about things not published? Oh, there you go. That's a good question. And we'll start exploring a little bit more of that over in Galactic Grades. And there are quite a number of things that are questionable. See, that's just it. And you really hit at it. When they publish something, that's not really their cutting edge. That's what they're willing to show to the public. That's why you got to wonder if some of these drones that we've been seeing already do not fit within this kind of category of technology, or some technology that may exceed this. Maybe they do have plasma technology. You can bet that the Chinese have every technology we have, pretty much. And for reasons I will explain over in Galactic Grid, since I start covering this stuff a little more extensively over there, you will see reasons why China could probably do these things at much bigger scale than America. So that is something to be concerned about. And another thing this shows is that China isn't just copying. I mean, China graduates more engineers every year than America graduates lawyers. They got a lot more engineers than we do. So a good number of those engineers are copying, but some of those engineers are innovating. For an example, China is leading the world in hypersonics research right now. They're ahead of the United States in hypersonic vehicles, which is scary. It's concerned. They're ahead of Russia too. You hear all Russia's all their chest beating claims about what their hypersonics can do and their unstoppable hypersonic missiles. Well, that first wave of unstoppable hypersonic missiles was definitely stoppable, as we found in combat, by such things as Redstone Arsenal, U.S. Army Redstone Arsenal developed missiles. So, such as the TACM, such as the Patriot missiles. We have found that it's more like the Patriots and so forth. We have found that we could take out a lot of their unstoppable missiles. But you get enough velocity, it gets harder and harder to do. And that's the thing about hypersonic missiles. So at least most people can agree that 1 + 1 = 2. That is true. At least I hope so. Some people would argue with that, though. And you might say that 1 + 1, that for sufficiently large values of 1 + 1, you might get 3. Like, if you would had 1.4 and you'd round it down to 1, right? 1.4 + 1.4 not rounded down and added would be 2.8, which would round up to 3. Well, which also underscores you can tell any story you want with statistics. And we used to have a little saying about lying with statistics. And you see a lot of that in the media, and politicians, they love to do that. And a statistician, might ask somebody, well, what answer do you want? How much do I need to sharpen my pencil? And that's some jokes that we have in the engineering world about statisticians and, or mathematicians, as we might call them. Anyway, so marsh rabbits. That's it. That's the name of it. Nightingale. Yeah, nightingale. Yeah, nightingale's been a thing. I mean, nightingale's been around for a while, guys. I mean, some that are talking about no, nightingale's been around. I remember that from back decades ago. Nightingale has been around. We've known about it for a while. Memory metals. So, okay, here we got here. Weird Weirdo turtle. I'm British, so I cannot. So I am not extremely informed about conflict. But couldn't we also consider attempting to resolve differences rather than who can make the most dangerous drone? Yeah, we would hope so. Yeah, we should hope that. But there is the old adage of peace through strength. You get the strong men in the world, they don't respect you if you're not strong. For example, when we had President Taterhead, people took advantage of that and because he was deemed to be weak. Hostages were taken. It's like Jimmy Carter. When Jimmy Carter was president, Iran took hostages and they held them for over 400 days. The day Ronald Reagan swore in, they got rid of those hostages as fast as they could. They got rid of them pronto. And what do we see in the Mideast? Hamas released hostages before. Who took office? Trump. So, you can take that to the back. Keith in Arizona. All the sun. How you doing, Arnold? So, guys, you got to take these things into consideration. If you don't have the strength, you got no leverage to negotiate. And that's one thing about Trump. He's a negotiator. He will come out and say things and scare the heck out of people. He's usually trying to build up a platform to negotiate from a position of strength. You can't negotiate from a position of weakness and get anywhere, which is what we've done under certain administrations, Carter, Biden, certain liberal ideologies that will all just get along. A lot of people just aren't programmed that way, and we have to take that into account and be prepared for that. But I'm against war. I do not like war. But you got to be strong to oppose your. Another thing, old guys like me. Hey, here's a prepping tip for you guys. If you're walking through the parking lot, just get old, some joints hurt. Sometimes, your back gets a little drawn up, but if you're kind of hobbling through that parking lot, you're a target. Predators will look at you as easy prey. So you need to stand up as straight as you can, even if you got to fake it, even if it hurts. You walk like you're the baddest hombre in the world. You just strut out there, throw that chest out, don't hunch over. It may hurt, your knees may be hurting, your ankles may be hurting. I get that sometimes. I get arthritis. But man, when I'm walking across that parking lot, nobody knows it if I can help it. Nobody knows it. I don't want them to see that. Because if they see that, you're prey. They'll come after you. You are the one. You don't want to be the prey. Don't look weak. A predator in nature goes after the weak animals. A mountain lion doesn't attack a healthy elk because it'll get squashed. A predator can't afford to get hurt in the wild because then it can't hunt and it can't eat. So it's very careful in what it selects to attack. And predators in our world are the same way. They go after the weak. They go after opportunities, targets of opportunity. Don't be a target of opportunity if you can help it. Try to look as strong as you can. Or if you have to, hey, remember one thing, a walking cane is a weapon. A walking cane is a weapon. So you keep that in mind if you're carrying one with you. And on hiking in the woods, it would be a good thing to have one. Because if some animal suddenly jumps you, there's a lot of moment arm on the other end of that walking cane. I got a walking cane that's not very dense. It's fair size, but it's not a dense wood. Yet I found I could swing that thing and take saplings out above ground level just like a cutting blade. And it really surprised me what that thing would do. It was like, one of my previous subs sent me that back when I had a car wreck and was hobbling around a bit from that. So it's just something. Is it a coincidence that Trump backwards? What? Is it a coincidence that Trump backwards is? Oh, I don't know what that is. But anyway, whatever. Whatever. Stand tall. Exactly, Billy. Stand tall. Look tough. Sound tough. Don't cower. If you cower, you were a target. So always look tough, sound tough, and no matter what's on the inside, what matters is what they see. If they see you as weak, you're in trouble. Even if you're strong, if you're acting weak, and if you want to be attacked, you're just looking. If you're aching for a breaking, act weak. Sooner or later, somebody's liable to pounce on you. Well, we're in a time right now. Okay, let's see. I'm female, so when I walk home at night, I always puff up a bit. There you go, and look ahead. Yeah, a strong woman is not somebody that wants to be attacked either by these guys. Oh, what am I doing here? Excuse me. Uh, Always remember the safe house near you and the numbers to call if you need help to get a few defense skills too. True. But now you got to remember something. If somebody's jumping you and you're calling law enforcement, that's going to take them 15 minutes to get there at best. At best. So you need to, maybe carry a little mace or carry your keys with a sharp end of those keys protruding between your fingers, and that makes a formidable weapon. An ink pen makes a formidable weapon. Yeah, so there's all these laws trying to outlaw weapons. Anything can be a weapon. Look, they're weaponizing cars to make them weapons of mass destruction. Driving through crowds. If you take away the nugs, if you don't know what that is, you're new to my channel, flip that word around. The people just come up with other means to do heinous things. Look what's happening in Great Britain today, where you're at. Knife attacks are on the rise. And why? Because the knife wielder knows there's nobody there with a nug. What's the first rule of a knife fight? Don't bring a knife to a gunfight. But anyway, but then again, hey, when people are up in close range to each other, a knife is a very formidable weapon. It could be more formidable than a nug because it takes a bit to pull that nug out. A knife comes out fast. And yeah, and they're silent. Personally, I like a hammer. Nobody thinks of a hammer as a weapon. And I've had hammers in my vehicles all the time. Back when I used to drive on red stars, always they had a weapons policy. You couldn't drive on post with a weapon. Weapons were illegal. But a hammer is just a tool. Never mind, it's got a built-in silencer, it's full auto, infinite magazine, but it is a short-range weapon, so is a knife, unless you throw it, but then you can throw a hammer too. But not as far range as, a nug with some hot flying kibbles. So just bear these things in mind. Good morning, wise man. How you guys playing? Prison psychology, okay. Act crazy and stand up. Yeah, sometimes acting crazy works because they don't know what to think when you're acting crazy, and give them that stink eye look. Look like, you look yummy. Yeah, when I was a kid in second grade, we had a class with, I went to a private school for a short period of time, about a half year, and we had fourth graders in there. There's this one fourth grader who was like a fair bit bigger than me, wanted to be a bully, and I just acted crazy, and he wouldn't mess with me. I told him I'd bobcat fight. I've always had very fast reflexes. So, yeah, he wouldn't mess with me when I tell him I'd go, basically, what do you call it? It's like, what's the word for it? Berserk, yeah. That was an Odin trick. A Nordic fighting trick. Yeah, somehow that just occurred to me when I was a little kid. It's like you just go, all out, And, nobody wants to fight that. Not typical, because that is hard to counter. Anyway, I always think that vitals, as a smaller fella, eyes, throat. Yeah. There's certain ways to fight when you're small. There are certain ways you can take on big people and bring them down in a hurry if you know how to do it. Just remember, they're stronger, and it's harder to counter longer arms, because if they can reach further, longer range weapons tend to have a dominance. But sometimes it just takes tactics and knowledge to know how to get in and get out, and fast reflexes. And that's something. The smaller people are usually faster, and that can be either speed and violence wins battles. There you go, Billy. That's range and speed and violence. It's a combination. But if you have the right speed and violence, you can speed, and you could overcome range if you know how to do it. Anyway, The rebel yell. There you go, marsh rabbits. Grizzly Adams, hi there. Hey, anyway, so they're curly shuffle. Oh Lord, yeah. So yeah, pick up your feet when you're walking. When we get older, we do shuffle our feet a little bit more. We don't pick them up as high as we used to, probably. But I'm about to be 65, so uh, I'm talking from experience here, guys. Good old bash like the old days. There you go. So just be prepared to for what's coming at you. But that's the way it is in the drone world. The drones are going to be the asymmetric weapon. It can be a real game changer across the battlefield and in countries. A new weapon available to people that intend, that maybe aren't even associated with the nation state, who just have an angst. Well, the drones are a game changer across the board. Asymmetric warfare. And that's what the United States military is going to have to become more accustomed to. So this whole business where China has these new drones is very significant. And as someone pointed out here, yeah, so that's what's published. What are they not published? Well, that may be what the stuff not published may be also some of what we're seeing. This is why you can't rule out them being from China. And as we well know, the guy who Livers, what was his name? The guy who did himself in a Tesla in Vegas at the Trump Tower, Trump building in Vegas, Trump Casino. Livers, I'm drawing blank right now, guys. Because I don't have all my notes in front of me. I have a bunch of articles in front of me, and I'm just running off the cuff here. But he said they were Chinese drones. He also said they were anti-gravity drones. That is bigger than what we're talking about here. If that's the case, that's beyond what we're talking about here. And you can't rule it out, to be honest. Yeah, a lot of people would snicker and chortle and laugh. Oh, it can't be blah, 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 blah. Well, wait till you see my video on Army anti-gravity research. We don't know what some of these people got behind the counter, basically. There are potential technologies out there. We're talking technologies that may be developed. So in any event, we need to be careful keeping out a crazy windy day. Oh yeah, today here the wind blew like crazy this morning. It was sand and everything. I waited till sundown to check my oil and my generators because I was afraid if I opened the cap I was going to get an engine full of sand. Oh wow, so enough ugly world need beautiful world. Yes, that's true, but the problem is there's so many ugly people in the world. We have to be able to contain them, and you have to do that with a show of force, strength, that is. Unfortunately, that's just the way the world works. A lot of us tried to get away from that, and it just didn't work out. Billy Wayne Norwood says, thing is, we are beginning to know of these anti-gravity weapons. Well, we know, I definitely can show you research. And the claims have been made that there are devices, potential weapons in this realm. And there are some interesting claims out there from quite a few people. And we're talking human derived. Guys, this technology is human derivable. Now, maybe somebody is back engineering something. Like the Chinese might back engineer something they capture from us. Of course, they got all the designs before we ever built it in the first place. But it's very hard for the United States to have a deep black program that nobody's got their fingers in. There is a way to do that, but it means you can't operate at scale. I'll talk about that over on Galactic Greg's. So I've got anti-grav free energy and interdimensional travel, but no one believes me. Well, okay, Ryan. Maybe you do. All right. Arnold Smith, 1 degree C here this afternoon in western Alberta, 4 inches of snow. Total far this winter. That's not a lot, is it? Well, most of the snow that fell here was in late October, early November. Keith can tell you that. And up around Show Low and Vernon, and Pine Top, especially up around Pine Top, they had quite a bit. Down here, not so much, but it did snow here some then. But we haven't had anything but a wee little tiny sprinkle of rain one day since I've been back. I mean, that sprinkle was very sparse. I mean, like maybe a drop every square foot. And it was only occurred like for a few minutes. And then we had a dusting of a few flakes, tiny little flakes of snow that couldn't even cover nothing, just a few falling out of the air back a few days ago. But yeah, we are sorely lacking for moisture here. Keith, I saw we had a few days ago a fire back over west of Show Low, looked like a forest fire. Now, Jesse Mills, I asked him about it. He said it was a controlled burn, but it looked like I saw some smoke coming up maybe from your direction today. I'm not sure. It might have just been a low cloud, but it looked like it might have been smoke. Keith, did you see anything? Yeah, we got a severe drought right now here at the moment. Hopefully it'll break. You know, monsoon season is yet to come. A couple of year before last, monsoon season was pretty generous. I saw E.T. back when I was 11, when it came out of the movie. The universe is huge. They now think that we had water. And some of you don't subscribe to the Big Bang idea, but those that do are now claiming that some of the earliest supernovas generated water 100 million years after the universe was created. I use the word created. I do believe in greater creator. So, space rockets we sent up with representatives from Russia and China with us. Well, we're not. Our space station is an international cooperation between Russia and the United States and European and countries in Japan. China was not allowed to be in that, and that's why they developed their own space station. So we haven't done joint missions with China. We had that Apollo-Soyuz test project was the first joint program between the United States and Russia, and this occurred back in the mid-'70s as an attempt to start forging some peace between Russia and China. Back then it was the Soviet Union. You said it really hasn't worked out all that great, although the people that have worked together have come to some good understanding and get along pretty well. And we had a period where the United States and Russia got along prior to this mess with Ukraine. In 2010, I was in Russia. I went to Moscow. I visited the Roscosmos, and I visited a company called Inky. Inky is a spinoff of the Russian organization that landed their probes on Venus, the Vera probes that landed on Venus. They actually landed on Venus where the surface is hotter than the tip of a soldering iron, and the pressure is like 90 times what we'd see in the depths of our ocean. Crush anything we would have or burn it up. They actually were able to transmit pictures for several minutes, maybe up to an hour before their landers succumb to the heat and pressure, which is absolutely amazing. We are the aliens. There you go, Jezreel. I see, Jezreel. Hope I said that right. Sometimes it's hard for me to read these tiny letters here. You're right that they're not aliens. See, here's the thing. I did videos on galactic rates where I said, I don't think they're from up there. Whatever we're seeing is not from up there. It may be interdimensional, but I believe it's from here. And I gave reasoning for that. So you can find those videos on galactic rates. A lot of the phenomenology that's been described and associated with so-called space aliens is synonymous with phenomenology that we've previously associated with demonic forces. So what about that? Not saying that it's not. Like I said, it's a lot. The universe is huge. Not saying there's not life out there. And definitely, if these technologies can be developed, it's possible that civilizations could traverse the great distances of space and could have been here, and they should have been here in vast numbers long ago. But we're not seeing yet what we ought to be seeing out in the universe if there are civilizations like that. We don't really see the Dyson spheres and these other things that we ought to be seeing, although there are some claims now that there may be 7 stars that might possibly be a Dyson sphere. That has come out very recently. So I don't know, guys. There's still a lot. But what about the dark side of the moon? Well, there's not actually a dark side of the moon. There is a side that faces away from Earth. The lunar day is 14 days long. And the lunar night is 14 days long. It matches the 28-day orbit of the moon around the Earth. The moon is phase locked with one face always facing Earth. The Dark Side of the Moon is a song by Pink Floyd. Pardon me. But in actuality, the moon has a far side, like the comic strip. Well, the moon's far side isn't like the comic strip, but named like that. The moon has a far side, a side that does not face Earth, and it is radically different than the side that faces Earth. So it's something of great interest. Now, the Chinese have actually landed on the far side of the moon with their Chang'e landers, and they have brought samples back to Earth, which is pretty impressive. Lord help us if the Chinese should land on the develop a lunar base before we can get up there. Would be in great trouble. Is Wendy in the house? Oh, very good. Vape King. Hopefully the Deagle report was incorrect. Let's hope so, because we're in 2025 right now. And Lord knows there's something from China or some bug. And look, now I really think that some would stop at nothing to keep the T-Man from eradicating the huge bureaucratic behemoth that entangles us. And so there's all this talk about the avian dinosaur bug. Birds are dinosaurs, if you didn't know. So I call them avian dinosaurs. Anyway, so that bug, there's been a lot of chatter about it for a long time. And, some people might want to use that to keep us from having... There she is. There you go. Well, Wendy, you got a lot of fans here, me included. So I was a man in the truck for a year. Oh, you living in the truck for a year? Okay. Well, I've spent some time living in a van here. Took out the seats. There you go. Well, I took out the mid seats here in this van. The bench seat in the back is the bed, and half of it bed, half of it is storage. And I still got the 2 front seats. So I took out the 2 middle seats here to be able to get in and out and have a little leg room. And I got stuff stored on the other side here. Anyway, so I've done some videos, a couple of videos on the van. I could probably have done a van life channel on YouTube, but it's just I don't have time to launch another channel. So I've just touched on the topic. I've lived in 2 different vans now. A little red van and this van for some time. And portable AC and a storage building. Oh, I had a portable AC and a storage building. Okay, yeah, I've managed to keep some stuff in storage. And I'm building a tiny home now, so that, hopefully I'll launch a new homestead here. That's part of the objective. But also, I'm kind of torn between the homestead. I will garden, but if I get livestock, it's going to tie me down. Worms aren't so bad for tying you down, but certain other things do, unless I can find some really reliable help. Because part of it, I'd like to actually travel some and see the area and see other people and things, So it's going to be a challenge. We cannot wait for you to get into the tank. Amen, Billy Wayne Norwood. Definitely that, because I'll be able to do better videos then. Just a common man drives a common van. Well, so since I'm driving a common van, I'm a common man. I reckon so. Anyway, definitely go. Oh yeah, I'll definitely garden. I'll have worms, and maybe whatever livestock I can raise that I might have a little liberty of getting around some. last night. Yeah, last night was the first night that it wasn't below freezing for a while. After having seen single digits for so many nights, that was a refresher. Tonight it's just going below freezing, so tonight's not so bad either. So that's a big help. Dee Dee, how you doing? So that was a great song. I mean, what was a great song? Um, let me see if I can read this right. Sterlo, I believe. Pay cash for a condo in San Antonio. Okay. I worry you. I'll be all right. You know, actually, I was worried last fall because I really wasn't prepared to handle the cold weather. And I got sick. And it hit me hard. It hit me fast and hit me hard. So, I've had to make some adjustments I did not anticipate having to have to make. I lived in Alaska 2 years, but I discovered that the cold air actually is, as I'm getting older, has a little different impact on my lungs, especially if when I'm sleeping, if I'm snoring. That's one of my vulnerability. I love being in my pickup. Slept on a BLM land. There you go. Unfortunately, what's happened is a lot of the people that are going to van life are not respecting the areas they go into. They're leaving trash and just all kind of crap behind. So BLM is shutting down a lot of the camping places where people could camp and do things. And a lot of the other camps and places are shutting down. Walmart is not as accommodating as they used to be. A lot of places are beginning to shut people out because some people just take advantage. Some people aren't smart. They're just nasty, rude people. And they mess things up for everybody else. And that's most unfortunate. Some people think this whole van life thing will be coming to an end because of that. I don't think it'll come to an end, but it's definitely getting more challenging. Would you like me to make you a really warm hat? I've got several, but the hat that I bought last at the flea market sometime back is packed up. I don't know where it is. This hat that I've been wearing around here sometimes is good when it's like, warm. Because you see this has got a mesh top in it. But it's not really a good hat to wear around here. In the weather, of course, the wind would blow off unless I, cinch that little cord down, but then it kind of gets in the way of my beard. So it's kind of a challenge to wear a hat around here sometimes. There is, but I appreciate the offer. If you can come up with, I'd entertain the idea. But that's one reason I wear these, what we in the South call toboggan kind of hats, or beanies is what the people up north call them. Up north of toboggan is something you ride through the snow. It's different. Southern speaking. Yeah, language varies. What people call things in different places. For example, out east, if you that little box that you pull behind a tractor to grade roads, what do we call it? Was in the east they call it a box. Now see, I'm already beginning to forget. I rented them out east. Here in Arizona, they call them a gannon. I never heard that word like that out here. A gannon. Nobody in the East I ever heard call it a gannon. Out here, that's all they ever call it, a gannon. So language is different, somewhat across the country, believe it or not. I'm from Galveston. Okay, 409. 409 is at the highway there. I can knit and crochet. Okay, Dee Dee, appreciate that. So yeah, I'd be interested. Let's see, we are them and they are us, and we are an unresolved version of them. We're an involved version of us. What separates us from them is death. We live with time. They live in time. Interesting viewpoint. Galveston. Love the beaches. Yeah, Galveston's an interesting place. So, listening from Mount Hood, Oregon. Very nice to have a handmade hat offer. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, this one is handmade, believe it or not, by a friend of mine from Utah. Definitely. Nomadic Fanatic channel. He is your neighbor. All right, you mentioned that, Billy Wayne. I have to look him up. Nomadic Fanatic. There's another guy who does. I'd like to contact him. Who does the channel Frugal. What is it? He does homesteading. It's frugal something. Frugal preparedness or frugal homesteading. I don't know. Frugal. What is that guy? He's a young red-headed guy. You know, he's lost a lot of weight since he's been doing his channel. Hey, we got a super chat. There we go. Rent the Ghost. Rent the Ghost. Salute, Rent a Ghost. Thank you. Appreciate the super chat. All right. He has 240,000 subs. Well, I guess I need to find him then. All right. Don't know how to contact him quick and easy to double tap your screen to provide a, yeah, thank you. A thumbs up would be appreciated. Yeah, we got 128 in the room and only 50 thumbs up. Yeah, guys, I need to help with my algorithms. This channel likes to stomp on me pretty hard. Vancouver, Washington. Okay, Vancouver. So Washington has a Vancouver. I know Vancouver, British Columbia. Been there. So I guess it's about the adjacent area in Washington State. I don't know. I've driven through Washington State from British Columbia once upon a time, like back in 1983 when I left Fort Greely, Alaska. I drove down the Alaska Highway, and instead of turning east at Dawson City, I turned west and went down the left coast, down West Wokistan, and I drove into the. Oh, we got another chat, super chat. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. 0.99 pounds. That's awesome, Rent a Ghost. So the hat reminds me of Robin Hood. Anyway, so I drove down till I got to the desert, the Mojave. I turned left and I drove until I saw a big crack in the ground. And I turned right and drove south to the cactus, had big arms sticking up in the sky. And I turned left again and beeline for Alabama. It's about a 3-week drive. I was pulling a 21-foot travel trailer with a little Ford F-100 truck. Only had a C4 transmission in it. And I had a half-ton, it's a quarter-ton truck. I had a half-ton in the bed of that truck with a camper shell on it. Plus pulling a 21-foot travel trailer. I had put a transmission shift kit in it to make it easier for that thing to cross I had to cross the Canadian Rockies 3 times. In Canada, that is, you know. Of course, that's where the Canadian Rockies are. But across the mountains, you know, in the United States too. But that was very interesting. It was very beautiful. The Canadian Rockies are beautiful. And I did see a lot of burned out areas and forest fires. Forest fires are not new up there. In fact, the ecology up in the boreal forest is a fire ecology. The seeds don't even pop out until they've been burnt by a fire. Fort Greely had once burned off completely, and when it was a prairie back in the 20s or 30s, it brought buffalo herd up there. By the time I was there, it was forest again everywhere. It's like a fun drive. Yeah, it was interesting. That's 198 the ex-wife ain't getting. Oh, Rent a Ghost. All right, well, thank you. Appreciate it there, Rent a Ghost. I guess the ex-wife won't be getting that now. So usually it's a guy like this that knows exactly what China has. So, yeah, what I'm reporting to you is what they published, what the Chinese themselves published in Attica Aeronautical. And it got picked up in Interest in Engineering and the South China Morning Post and some other publications. But it was first published in Acta Aeronautical. So that's a scientific publication. As I said, this was research that we know about that was developed at Northwestern Polytechnical University and the Chinese Aeronautics Research and Development Corporation. Center, not corporation, center. So these are things they published. What have they not published? I think maybe what we were seeing is things they didn't publish. They haven't published yet. So, well, thank you, Danielle. Or Daniel, excuse me, Daniel. How you doing? Yeah, it's hard for me to say for you, Daniel. Open source intelligence. Yeah, that is when they publish it's definitely open source. But we're seeing evidence of things that may as yet not been published. Rocket Man sure takes UT to the limits. All right, so hey, I've been to Utah. I say I have heard that Trump is speeding this process up. Well, I have 2 or 3 days ago I was hearing that they were rounding up people in Snowflake in Taylor, Arizona, right here. Keith, maybe you've heard some of that. I don't know. So the roundups have started, and they've been flying people out of the country and sending them down to Guatemala on U.S. Air Force C-17s. So things are happening. Things are going on. So we are in interesting times, guys. Morning from Bonnie, Scotland. Hey, Scott. Well, we got Scott from Scotland. How about that? Scott Hogan. Very good. Good to see. I hope your kitty is doing good. Yeah, I think he's doing good. He's been really feisty. But he's not up here with me at the moment. He's somewhere else in the van, chilling out, I guess. Many don't trust Elon Musk. Well, he was the darling of the left until he showed, until he wised up and started talking stuff on the Trump side of the spectrum. Now all the people on the left hate him. They hate Tesla. They hate his rockets. They hate everything. All right, we got another super chat from Rena Ghost. All right, let's celebrate the 20th super chat in a live stream. Well, that's your 20th one. Holy guac and smoke-a-moly. Well, Rena Ghost, thank you very much. So we got 1.49 pounds. Very good. Giddy up. Giddy up, giddy up. How you doing, all the sun? China has a navy that is, well, they have more ships than the United States. Now, we have more tonnage, but the Chinese are building ships at a far faster rate than we are, far faster than we could even build them right now. And that's one thing to be concerned with. Now, I was born in Irvine, Scotland, but brought up in Northern Ireland. Interesting there, Rennie Ghost. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that, Rennie Ghost. And Arnold points out how kind you are. So, what we know is that, China is really making a lot of moves toward taking Taiwan. That is what they really want to do. Hopefully Trump will find some negotiating room to stall that. If it's stalled enough, it just may not happen. Because, China's having a lot of economic problems. They're having demographic issues. No, we will not. Okay, so hopefully some of this can be averted. Margot D off. What's that? Dana, I don't know. DD says, I bought worms from you years ago. Well, thank you. Yeah, I did sell worms all over the country. But I found my hired help. I couldn't hire the kind of people I used to could. After the cerveza bug went around, it got much more difficult to hire people that could do the work. Much more difficult. And I just couldn't harvest them at a price that I could afford to sell them at. It was costing me way more to harvest than even I'd jack the price up and I still couldn't swing it because the labor pool just went to heck in the handbasket. So, this is something we got to work on, guys. This is something we got to work together. And Trump is talking about reindustrializing the United States, but we've got to get people off the drugs. Drugs are a big problem in the country right now. So we're having, we're taking on the cartels. But even with that, the real issue is we got to take away the source. We got to convince our young people not to go down that road. It's a nasty road. It destroys people. But they get so caught up in that cheap thrill, the dopamine hit. And once they get on it, it's hard to get them out of it. But they don't have a life in that world. Their lives really are awful. And the people they deal with, they can't trust their friends or the people they deal with because they all steal from each other. And it's just a nasty life. Very nasty life. Some people do overcome it. We've got to give people the incentive to want to get out of that. And that comes from hope. We got to give people hope to get them off of dope. And that's something we got to work toward. Well, Kitty has returned. Now, I didn't do mealworms. I might in the future, but, so I can get the kitty on here. Hang on a minute. There he is. He's found him something to chew on. Oh, he's chewing on the zipper of my jacket. That's what he likes to do. Goodness gracious. Red Dawn. It may be here. Here, kitty. That's right. 5 years cleaning. Well, there you go. Now, people like you can be an example. That's awesome. Salute to you, 5 years clean. That is awesome. Let's hope you can stay there. It's tough when somebody has ever been an addict, because you've got, well, for one, it changes your brain where you don't get the normal dopamine releases. There's a lot of biochemical changes that are made, and so it's tough. It's a tough thing, and addicts always have to have a struggle to stay clean. And I salute you for that. Like I said, you could be a leader to help people overcome eats the worms. Well, I haven't yet. Yeah, that's a big congrat. Smoke crack every day, pretty heavy for 4 years. Well, Sterlo. So you could be a shining example. And hopefully we can get people involved and reaching out to the other users that can show them the way, and mostly why to follow that way, the examples, why they would want to get out of the life they're in. A lot of people that are in that life don't want to get out. It used to be 6 to 7 days a week. Billy Wayne, you used to use too. Well, if you're over that good, you quit weed years ago. There you go. Well, I used to like to have a few brewskis on a weekend. I probably had a brewski or two ski too many back in the day. I can't do them now, but part of that is I got scared because it gave me tachycardia real bad, and that scared the bejesus out of me. I thought I was going to die. And at first I didn't know what was causing it, because it wouldn't hit me until the day after, and I wouldn't have like a hangover. It just, the old heart would go brrrr, and I would go yikes. So that was scary. So I can't even have enough of that stuff to give me a buzz. But I think it was a blessing, really, because I didn't need to be doing that no way. And that was a blessing. I actually just to encourage me to stay away from that mess. I had it under control. I'd only do it on weekends, and I would stop every half a year and not touch it for a half year just because I was afraid of becoming an alcoholic. So I had my own methods to keep myself from falling into alcoholism. But I did have more than I should have had. And good Lord knows I've had my share. Let's just put it that way. But I can't do it anymore. Just can't do it. And so I don't. I bought let's see, I can't do dope. I go into psychosis. Oh. Well, see, yeah, okay. Well, it's good to know that you know that you can't do it and you'll stay away from it. Well, we got to find the means to get people to get away from all these substances and abuses. YouTube relaxing. Have you ever read Bill Mollison's book? Talking about now we're talking about permaculture. Yeah. So I've had taken some permaculture classes. In fact, I practiced it some degree. I will probably practice it more here, because permaculture was developed, out of Australian arid climates, and it's very applicable here. So I'll be doing more of that. I thought being sober, especially if folks use around you, it's tough. Yeah, that's true. But maybe sometimes you just need to change the crowd you're around if you can. It's not always possible. There's something bad about beer. Probably too much sodium. Whiskey is better. Well, everything's got its downsides. Whiskey will hit me a lot harder. If I have one shot of whiskey, I'm in trouble the next day. Just one shot. Can't do it. Your heart finally got the punchline and the joke. Yeah, scared me to death. He said, weed ain't dope. Okay. It does have some effects on you, though. Mary Jane has got both positives and negatives, you know. It's just like everything else. Hey, we got Jason here in the house. Jason Avers from Green Country Agroforestry. The techniques of permaculture were developed all over the world. The ones pertaining to dry climates came from Oklahoma. Okay, I can show you where the work was done. All right, I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word for it. Exchange the generator. Yeah, I did, but the new brand new one. I had my lights flickering at first today, and they told me if I was running at 25% capacity, it's about where I should be. It would run 18 hours. It didn't make 10 hours last night. Yeah, so I got this morning with no power. I was just very thankful it wasn't below freezing. So cancer experts now say alcohol is primary cause. Yeah, it's a big cause. It is. Alcohol is a big cause for cancer. That's a fact. That's one thing to watch, and it kills brain cells. Grow it, enjoy it. Plus, golden teachers are amazing. Yeah, you know, Arizona, at least locally here, weed is decriminalized in the state. And I got a lot of friends that partake in it. Okay, fine. At least it's not like hard drugs, you know. The thing I'm worried about is crack and meth and, you know, just things like that. You know, crack is a form of cocaine. All the hard drugs are very destructive. So fentanyl, that's the worst. Fentanyl is bad. Well, there's some other stuff that's even worse. There's some other stuff that is far worse. Let's give me an option to review a message. Oh, what is that? Anyway, so yeah, let's watch what we're talking about on here. Winter Family Channel. Tomato or barbecue sauce? Well, I think most barbecue sauces have a tomato base, don't they? Oh, bath salts. That's nasty. Remember the guy in Florida who was taking, I think, bath salts and he attacked some homeless guy and ate his face or something like that. I don't know. Crazy stuff. I don't know. Well, thank you, Dixon. Yes, please smash the like button. Keith in Arizona. All right, we got longer than I really meant to here tonight. I just want to let y'all know about these drones, because it just reinforces what I was talking about earlier. I was saying this as a possibility, and there were those, oh no, it's not possible, being totally dismissive. Well, it's come out that China has this stuff. Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise. Anyway, a lot of other things going on right now. There's a lot of news, a lot we could talk about, but it is getting late here. I never mess. Yeah, I can't. I don't mess with that stuff personally. Well, one, I couldn't. I can't even though the weed is legal in Arizona. I'm doing contract work, and ultimate customer is the government, and it's illegal on that side, and they test, and so I can't do nothing like that. I can't touch it. So cat's name is Smokey the cat. Smokey the bear, and there's Smokey the cat. So Smokey the cat, let's see if we can get another view. Smokey the cat, he is chewing on something, probably my clothes. He's always attacking something. He's attacking my jacket. He likes to chew on zippers for some reason. And, yep. I don't know. He's a little bit destructive. China has drones that can travel in air and underwater. Yes, Dixon. That's what I was talking to you guys about. Go back and rewind, and you'll catch it all in the beginning of the video. 15 in April. Okay, Billy. Let's see. Mitchell Cooper. Drones have a limited connection range, though. It's based on limitations in batteries. It's also possible maybe China has a better battery technology, or maybe they've tapped the energy in the universe. There's free space has got a lot of energy if you can figure out how to tap it. So we don't know. Yeah, he is growing. He is growing. He is growing really fast. And that's good, because he's got to be able to go out in the spring here and take on the rats. He needs to be big enough that he's more than just a morsel for a coyote. He's feisty enough. He's definitely faster than a cat I got outdoors right now, the Freddy cat. He may be a really big cat. Somebody told me he looked a lot like the Maine coon cats, and those are huge cats. I don't know if he's getting coon cat in him or not. What do you think the U.S. will be like in 40 years? Wow, Sterlo. A lot of that depends on us, to be honest. A lot of that depends on us here in the, in the U.S. Sterlo, where are you located, Sterlo? So, there's been that side that's been favored by the House of Klaus that wanted to get rid of the nation states and put everybody under one world system. I think maybe we finally have shook that mantle off and are getting rid of that. But we have to be eternally vigilant. The price of freedom is eternal vigilance. And that's what our founding fathers told us. So we have to remember that, because there's always those who would attack freedom. They'll always be here, and that's why our oath that you take to take an office in the United States is to protect the Constitution against enemies foreign and domestic. And we often forget that domestic part. There you go, Sterling. Fight. Oh, right, okay. Trump just spoke to Davos, told them to, yeah, basically he did. Him and Milei of Argentina. I really like Milei of Argentina. That guy can really talk. He's got it down pat. Can hold a vacuum. Bizarre stuff. Pretty amazing, terrifying, the amount of applications it can be used for. Tracy Brokenwing. Well, actually, that may be part of the problem. The kind of technologies that could be an offering could be absolutely frightening. I'll talk about that on Galactic Graves. I've talked about that a little bit here on this channel. I did a video called A Nuke in Every Pot back probably 5 years ago. I thought that would be an earth-shattering video and would go viral, and it didn't. It didn't get that many views. So go to my videos and search for Nuke in Every Pot. I believe that's what I call the video. So pay attention to that video, because I talk about technologies that are very dangerous. And I only hinted, I mainly focused on the biotech side, but what was in the back of my mind was this other technology, which I'll be talking about a little bit more on Galactic Gregs. It's the anti-gravitic technology, electrogravitic. Mitch Jones, hello from Code, Ohio. Code, Ohio. Oh, interesting. So what's the code? Yeah, the younger generation still has a lot to learn. Yep, agree with that. Governments can't afford it. They can afford a lot of stuff. Yeah, well, it's creating a force to counter gravity, whether it's anti-gravity or not. It would have the same appearance. I mean, cold outside. Sorry. Okay. Seems like Trump, we are turning the ship. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Finally. The country got heading down the wrong direction back in 1913. What happened to 1913? You don't like New York pizza? What about Chicago pizza? Speaking of Chicago, Huntsville, Alabama, where I used to work and still work out of. Huntsville, Alabama is now the 27th largest city in area. It's as large as Chicago in area. It's been expanding, and they are really positioned to grow. And they've been growing like crazy. It went 2 or 3 years ago. In 1 year, it went from Alabama's 3rd largest city to the 1st. But it's because it's got Republican governor that knows how to go after business. I'll go find that video when I'm done here. The stuff is crazy. Uh, Go see stuff that Ashton Forbes has been putting out. I'm going to try to contact him and get an interview with him on Galactic Greg's if I can. Uh, he stood up for the Carolina flood victims. Oh, well, very good. The source of the Chinese drone info? Well, Dixon, they steal stuff from us. But because they're a closed society, they can do things we can't do. But they also have a lot of engineers. And like I was talking, if you saw the Galactic Greg's video on these topics, from my very first video, in fact, you will find that Americans and others since the 20s have been, playing around with these technologies. It is human derivable for orbs, yeah. We're talking about orbs here. So I'll go more into that over on the Galactic Greg channel. If you're not subscribed to Galactic Greg, subscribe to it and go look at these videos. Because I was so busy moving and working, I didn't put any videos on Galactic Gregs for several months. And YouTube demonetized the channel. It's got over 5,000 subscribers, but they demonetized it. I got to get views to get it back into monetization. It's Galactic Greg's. Like this is Green Greg's, that's Galactic Greg's. I like to alliterate. It's a Nordic, Old English form, poetic form. The Saxons and the Germanic tribes and the Nordic tribes, all for poetry, liked alliteration. Allison always alliterates. So you'll find that I've alliterated quite a bit. Galactic Greg's, that's right. So you'll find me on that channel wearing this hat in the on the picture, the thumbnail, whatever comes up. I've subscribed. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Watch some of the videos over there. Beat the U.S. government is paying for Chinese R&D. Well, we sent some money over for some gain of function research coming out of the NIH. Now that's been confirmed. And a certain guy who was over all that got a pardon, didn't he? Got a big pardon. Interesting. So we'll see how that goes. But I hear Putin wants him. I say that doctor whose name rhymes with an ouchie, like you get a little pain, ouchie. Yeah, I say send him to Putin. Greg, what do you think about 2001, The Space Odyssey movie from 1968? They was actually producing that movie back as far back as 1964. I did reference that video in a video I made earlier today, which I've not aired yet. I'm going to post it on Galactic Greg's. And that video, thank you. There, Jason shared the link. Thank you, Jason. It's the Galactic Greg's channel. I knew the science director of that movie, Frederick Ordway III. I personally knew him. In fact, you can see video on me. If you go to that channel on YouTube that shows a lot of the International Space Development Conferences, you'll see me and Frederick Ordway III on stage together. Behind the desk, as we're presenting things like award banquets and things like that. I knew Frederick Ordway III. He was from Huntsville, Alabama. He resettled. He married a woman from South America, Columbia, I believe. He was down there for a little while, but he went back. He went up and worked at the Department of Transportation for several years in Washington, D.C. But he kept a house in Huntsville, but always come back. And when he retired, he resettled to Huntsville. But I knew Frederick Ordway III. He was a friend. So he was the science director of 2001: A Space Odyssey. Frederick Ordway III. Well, thank you, Billy. So sad we must make a moon base before Mars. So, yeah, we need to, just because of the Chinese. The moon should be our first priority. Elon may not subscribe to that, but, it's just, it is what it is. But it doesn't mean Elon can't go to Mars. Just because, we need to go to the moon don't mean he can't be aiming at Mars. He'll have the money. He could do it. his plan was to be able to pay for Mars, with uh, Starlink. I am a subscriber to Starlink, so Starlink is what I'm working over. So Elon's getting money from me to go to Mars from Starlink, so I'm supporting his Mars program. And living here in the desert, this is a lot like Mars right here where I'm at. The high winds, the reddish sand. So this is really Mars Base 1. I got to have my own power source. I want to grow my own food, have my own uh, my own satellite communications. I'll have my own solar power here soon. So I may start just calling this Mars Base 1. So anyway, so is Mars is something different? What do you mean by different? It is what it is. So now, really and truly for human habitation, I'm not sure Mars is all that suitable. I think the better idea is the ideas that Gerard Kilneal was developing back in the mid to late 70s that we call the Gerard, the old Nil cylinders. So space colony concept, you'll see some coverage of that over in the Galactic Rex channel. But I also devised and designed a habitat to settle Venus, because Venus could be reached easier, and it's more actually at 50 kilometers altitude, it'd be far easier to live on than Mars. So I said colonize Venus first. Check out my video on that. So get yourself some good batteries, charge them with the generator during the day and use the batteries at night. That's not a bad idea. I'm planning to buy some batteries. In fact, I got a guy down in the valley that may bring some batteries up this coming weekend. Venus is too hot. It is on the surface, but Venus's atmosphere is primarily carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is a significantly heavier element than what we have in our atmosphere here. And as a matter of fact, you could basically hermetically seal a house and it would float at just about the 50-kilometer level in the Venetian atmosphere. And that is the level in the atmosphere that has the same pressure as the surface of the Earth, atmospheric pressure, and the same temperature range. The only thing is you'd probably have to wear a little plastic suit when you go outside to keep the acid off of you. You need an acid suit. It might be more like scuba gear. You need to breathe too. Got a telescope? I do. It's kind of wrapped up right now. How could you live on Venus? Look, I got a whole video. Go to the Galactic Gregs and I need people watching some of my videos over. Go look for my video on colonize Venus first. I laid it all out there. Yes, sir, Billy Wayne. Check it out. And Venus is actually lower energy to get to than Mars. We could get there easier. We could get there quicker. And it'd be far easier to live on. I mean, Mars would make Antarctica look like a tropical paradise. That is, if a storm comes, your house may take a dive. Oh, yeah. Well, that's why I've got a more buoyant system than a hermetically sealed house. Although we could start it using Starship orbiters as the strong back to build this habitat on. That's how I envision doing it. So Mars, we could actually live underground there. Well, yeah, that's possible. And the same for the moon. Gravity, though, 1/3 gravity. We don't know the effects of human habitation 1/3 gravity or 1/6 gravity like you'd have on the moon. The moon might be one of those places you go do and work, but not live on permanently. And we may find Mars has to be the same way. I don't know yet. The atmospheric pressure is 900 times. Yeah, it's far heavier in Venus. But Mars on the surface, the atmospheric pressure on Mars on the surface is 1/100th what it is on the surface of the Earth. 1/100th. So we're 100 times more pressure right here than Mars has at its surface, which the Martian surface pressure is the same as the pressure in our atmosphere 100,000 feet up, where I would fly balloons. Isn't that funny? Isn't that interesting? This 1 to 100 to 100,000. Interesting numbers. We got a lot of interesting numbers in our solar system. like our sun is 400 times larger in diameter than the moon, but the moon is 400 times closer, so from our vantage point on Earth, they look like they're the same size, but they're not. See, I was thinking maybe putting our terraforming microorganisms into buoyant colonies, but it might be this after the sun's expansion before we live on Venus. Oh, we need to move Venus. Now we might shield Venus and terraform Venus just by shielding it from all the sun and putting stuff in there to process the carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. But then you'd more probably crash a few comets into Venus to bring water to it. Maybe do it in such a way to get its rotational speed up. The day on Venus is like, oh, it's very long. I think Venus is, well, I don't remember exactly what the rotation rate is. I think it's only one or maybe 2 to 4 times it rotates every time it goes around the sun. It's got a very slow spin, and it spins in the opposite direction. So Venus has got some really oddball thing about its spin. But at the atmosphere level of 50 kilometers, the winds go around Venus about a 24-hour cycle. I mean, it's interesting at that 50-kilometer altitude, it's very Earth-like. And we could build buoyant structures easy. It would float to. The buoyant structures I had in mind, I actually designed for being able to float in our atmosphere, just using the heat from the daylight going into them. They would float. I calculated. I'll show you that in that video. Colonized Venus source on Venus, they would be super buoyant, super buoyant. So you have to check that out. Would you go to the moon if it became available for regular people to go there? Yeah, I'd go check it out. Definitely. Venus orbits the sun on about 225 Earth days, right? Rotates that. There you go, 243 Earth days. That's it. So it's a very slow rotation, and it's in the other direction. I do cover all that in that video on colonizing Venus. Well, it's all locked up in molecules in the atmosphere. So now Mars has a lot of water, but you could process water out of the molecules in the atmosphere. Google rules, oh my God, too much. You'd like to go to the moon? There you go. So I remember when Jethro Bodine built them big rocket and launched himself, because he wanted to see the moon maidens and eat all that green cheese. Y'all remember that? The Beverly Hillbillies. Anyway, Jupiter spins the fastest. Jupiter's got some mighty high winds. There's also a lot of storms in the Jovian atmosphere. How do you handle all that? Would be interesting, but you could have floaters in the Jovian atmosphere too. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad at very high altitudes in Jupiter, but Jethro was funny, absolutely. Yeah, he was actually a great actor, but he got typecast so bad by his role there that he really couldn't do anything other than direct films later. And his dad was a championship boxer. If y'all didn't know, he was a world heavyweight champion in boxing. And his name was also Max Baer. That was Jethro's name, Max Baer. He's named after his dad. Would you pay more income taxes on Venus over the last month? Well, why would you pay more on Venus than anywhere else? It's all a form of, what governments are trying to do. Let's hope we can figure out a way to shuck the need for governments. Jethro Tull Aqualung. I don't know, but yeah. Let's see. One of the big rock and roll band guys is a astrophysicist or something, or an aerospace engineer. I forget who it is. Bug Tussle, Oklahoma, is a real place. We grow aerospace engineers there. Bug Tussle, Oklahoma. We got a Kickapoo too, right? Remember Little Abner? They always talked about Kickapoo joy juice and Little Abner. So I found it interesting. You got a Kickapoo up. So Jason, tell me this: how come you got so many Canadian rivers in Oklahoma? Why does Oklahoma got like 3 different Canadian rivers? Why do they call Canadian rivers? What inspired Oklahoma to have so many Canadian rivers? I'd really like to know. Imagine being able to breathe underwater. Oh yeah. Well, if there is technologies for breathing a liquid oxygenated fluid, I don't know. Primary Queen. Let's see. Has DJT offered to buy Venus yet? Well, who is he going to buy it from? Never made much sense to me. I was talking about the Canadian rivers. It didn't make much sense to you either, huh? There's got to be some history there. Got to be some history. Yeah, you drive across Oklahoma. There's like 3 Canadian rivers. It's like, okay, one Canadian river was be weird in Oklahoma. Yeah, but you got 3. It's like, geez, what is all this Canadian river stuff? Anyway, interesting stuff. All the sun we can. Breathable fluid is great for operating in high pressure environments. That's true. The kind of work I pass on. Yeah, I don't want to breathe that stuff. But they're also saying it might be good for, high performance aircraft and spacecraft. You might be able to take more G loads if you had a fluid in your lungs. Yeah, I don't know. What was that? There was a TV show where they showed somebody breathing this fluid in. The Abyss, I believe it was. Anyway, there's actually technology for that. I don't think it's in widespread use though. You feel like he's drowning taking it in, I imagine. Antarctica's not for sale. Well, Antarctica is supposed to be governed by treaties so that nobody's appropriating property there, but China's planning to violate that. So they some kind of Navy SEAL tech. Yeah, it's some weird stuff. Yeah, that would be, it would be heavy taking it in. It would be really odd to try to suck a fluid into your lungs. Then you got to get it out. Yeah. So I was a Raytheon kid, saw all kinds of stuff that the old folks are saying 8-year-olds don't want to. They wouldn't understand. Interesting. Yeah, and a Navy guy too, right? So I vape and feel like it weighs down my lungs. Okay, yeah, you get a little bit of fluid in there, right? So, Ring Davis, what do you think about Mars rovers, the Perseverance? Now, it's interesting. They've explored so much area on Mars. They got a lot of pictures. We're seeing a lot of good stuff. So we've got quite a photo album on Mars now. But really and truly, even though they've been going for years and years, they go very slow. So they still only cover a very minuscule area of the planet. There's a lot to be explored. That's one reason they like that helicopter Martian. The whole idea you can fly a helicopter on Mars. I mean, think about it. The helicopters we use here on Earth can barely get up to the high altitudes of mountains because of the way the rotor blades are set. But if you design the rotor blades for the lower atmosphere, again, it's all engineering, then you can fly them. So that was a real gutsy program to build a Martian helicopter. But boy, it really hopped around and did some exploration. So anyway, guys. All right, we need to go. It is late. We've been on here for an hour and a half. That's really too long. We've covered all kind of topics. Go check out my Galactic Greg's channel. I will be covering some stuff on there real soon. I will also do a little house status video. I did 2 videos earlier today. I just not uploaded either one yet. I did one kind of the status of my house, and I did the one on the on AI. 3 reasons not to be too concerned about AI. I plan to upload them tomorrow. So, also, what do you think about intuitive machines and the M1 with Odysseus? Yeah, there was quite a number of. It's probably a spinoff of one of the Google Enterprise companies. So, yeah, the more private enterprise we got participating in shooting for the moon and space, the better. Yeah, let's see. There was trying to remember all the names of the companies that was in the Lunar Google X Prize. My company, Altitude Research Corporation, was a partner with a team called Lunar Treks. If you go back and look at the original X Prize, you will see that Hart was a X Prize competitor. We actually had Probably some of the best engines of anybody that was competing, but we were a little bit late getting in the game because our guys were involved with Burt Rutan's effort early on, and Burt Rutan won it. Range Rovers are cheaper to fix. Yeah, that they are, but all I was just hearing, oh, we got another super chat. Where did that go? I just saw it flashing on set now. There it is. Ken, where is the cat? All right, Ken, appreciate super chat. Thank you, Ken. All right, you ask, you get to see the cat. Works with NASA. Yeah, well, there's a lot of things working with NASA. Hang on a minute. There we are. Oops, he's licking his belly. Cleaning himself up. Anyway, so there was the cat. Smokey the cat. Yeah, thank you, Ken. Appreciate that. So, there you go. You got to see the cat licking his belly. He's a big fur ball. He's got some long fur. He should do well out here in the winters. Oh, you have 6 cats. Okay. So, a cute cat. Well, thank you. So I still got Freddy Cat. If you remember my old videos, I had Freddy Cat and Boots. Boots, something happened to Boots, but Freddy Cat is here with me. I got 2 cats. This cat's too little to be outside right now. He is not ready for it. But when he gets bigger, he's going to be my... See, Freddy Cat has become Rat Force 1. And Smokey the Cat will become Rat Force 2. So that's going to be their mission names. Ray, we love you. We love the cats. Okay, Billy Wayne, appreciate that. Alrighty. Yeah, I know what you meant. Cats. I got it. Alright, folks, we need to go. It's late. I got to turn in. So, now we got some super chats now. I appreciate that. We got some good ones. And I really appreciate all you guys. So, guys, we're going to call it a night. We've been going an hour and a half. That's really too long. People don't want to watch the meeting tomorrow if we get too long. I thought Snap killed Dumbledore. I'm probably more like Gandalf. Get some sleep, Jedi. There you go. Thank you. So, thank you, Greg Chat. So I want to say this. Thank you, Super Chatters. Thank you, one and all. Really appreciate it. Thank you, mods. We now had so many trolls tonight, have we, as usual? I think maybe you guys have just wore them out. The trolls just don't survive well here. All right, so Chris. All right, thank you. You sleep well, too. So Jason says, waking up with a rattler is less likely with a kitty on guard. That's true. I think you're Obi-Wan. All right, Sterlo. Another super chat. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Sterlo. So actually, we had code names in the policy committee of the National Space Society. We kind of codenamed everybody in the leadership of the National Space Society. We called them various names from Star Wars. And yeah, that was the one I got. That was a nickname I had, was Obi-Wan. Believe it or not, Obi-Wan. And yeah, we had a Vader too. I won't call names, but we did have a Vader. And we had a Luke. Alrighty, yeah, I was Obi-Wan. And our little nicknames we gave each other. The policy committee of the National Space Society, Darth Vader. Yeah, we had a Darth Vader. Definitely. So have a good day, Greg, and anyone. Yep, thank you. Princess Leia. Yeah, kind of, sort of. Alrighty, folks. With all that, I'm going to say, once again, thank you, mods. Thank you, super chatters. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And to one and all, a good night or a good day, wherever you are. And with that, I'm going to say, ho, ho, ho. Because that's, everyone a good night. Greg out.